Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Totally Wild Food. Dude, what's in the bog, man? There's lots of stuff in the bog. We can make a total vegetarian meal out of everything that's laying in here. Most everything. There's always some toxins you gotta be careful of. So come for a walk with us, see what we can eat. So we found our one Morel right here beside my canoe paddle. And it's underneath this big old juniper. And yet, on the other side here is another juniper. And what do you think I found beside this other juniper? Dung, 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 dung. Wow, okay, so that makes two. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. Alright, so this is awesome. These guys are loaded with proteins, they're loaded in fiber and vitamins and minerals, and they're low in carbs and they're low in fats. They're just everything, these guys are just awesome. So we're going to take this guy and he's going to come back with us to go into our wild dish. So we're just going to take this guy off, leave his little stipe in the dirt there. Yeah, look at this. May as well start with these guys. These are the Marsh horsetail, Equisetum palustre, and they are loaded with calcium and silicates. And the silicates are very good for our hair and our skin and our nails. And it's very abrasive. It can be actually made into toothpaste. As a matter of fact, you can actually, if you're out in the bush and you don't have a toothbrush and you're out there for a bit, you can use this and to brush your teeth with. Don't dry it out or they're going to call you Bleeding Gums Malone. So make sure you use it when it's green if you're going to do that. This has been used throughout history for all kinds of stuff. It's got some very strong astringent properties, so it's great for any kind of wounds. They've used it in tonics and teas and whatnot. There are a lot of bad things about them as well. It's got an enzyme in them called thymidase, and that one breaks down our thymine, which is our B1, and we really need that in large doses. So, you know, just if you're going to make it into a tea, do not actually eat these, but you can make them into a tea. But I suggest that you only do it maybe once or twice a week, and don't do it for longer than a week or two, because these can build up in your system, and you can end up having a thymine deficiency. So you got to be careful. Also, they have nicotine in them, believe it or not. So if you have an allergy to that, and the funny thing that I heard was if you have an allergy to carrots, don't take the tea. There's also pregnancy. Don't take these if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. For me, I also just got put on some blood pressure pills, and these can drop your blood pressure. So I'm not going to be actually taking these in conjunction with my blood pressure pills. Ancient Japanese woodworkers would dry out the horsetails, and they would use it for their final polishing of their furniture that they were making and whatnot. And in Germany, they called it Zinnkraut. They used it for polishing their pewter and their silverware and stuff like that. Really awesome. Now that's one species that's in this marsh, and we got another one here that looks a little different. And you can see here he's a little bit thicker, and he hasn't put out any branches like these other guys. And these branches that they put out are non-vascular, by the way. It's just the only vascular part is their main stipe, I believe. I believe this one here is the common horsetail, the Equisetum arvense. And they all have the same properties in these guys and also in the marsh Equisetums as well. But yeah, you know, there's, so be very, very careful. If you're going to try and use this stuff, please look it up and find out if you've got anything that, like allergies or anything along those lines, or if you're taking some kind of heart medication, don't do them, you know, etc. You know, be smart, my friends. And of course, not everything out here in the bog is edible. Don't forget, there's things like water hemlock and, you know, some real baddies like that. All right, so moving over to our little friends here. These are the lady ferns, and this is Ethereum Filix femina. And these little tiny fiddleheads here. These guys are just amazing, amazing plants. First of all, let's just start out with their antioxidants. They have 2 times the amount of antioxidants per 100 grams than blueberries, which we know are superfoods, and these guys are as well. They've got niacin in them, which actually is very good for our cholesterols. It increases our HDLs and lowers our LDLs. And I believe the LDLs are the bad ones, which we want to get rid of, right? And they got loads of different minerals in them and elements. There's iron, there's copper, there's manganese, there's magnesium, and potassium. And just, it's absolutely phenomenal. And these guys also, talking of antioxidants, vitamin A. If you take 100 grams of these things, you've got 120% of your vitamin A for your daily intake right there. That's just in a small little, small little amount. 100 grams isn't very much. There's so much more to these guys too. That first of all, they're tasty as heck, and they're very, very sweet. I find them very sweet, as opposed to which the horsetail is quite bitter. And those are because of alkaloids in them, and alkaloids build up in our system very bad. So that's with those, but we're talking about the fiddleheads right now. And another amazing thing about these two is something you do not find in plants very often. And this goes out to all of our vegetarian friends. These guys are very high in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. So just absolutely phenomenal. And also they're high in protein, and of course you're getting your fiber out of these guys too. These little scales that are on their back here are very, very easy to get off when we're going to wash these guys anyways. So they're just all coming out right here. Just phenomenal. And the great thing is even though that you're looking, oh, these guys are too big to be taking, when you see that, just look around closer. Just because there's big ones at their base, you're going to find some small ones that are under 3 inches, which are the prime ones that we want. You don't want them too big. And another thing I want to say about the marsh and the bog is all these plants that are out here, there are water filters. So anything that's bad that's in the water system, these guys are going to suck it up, and they're going to hold it in their plant bodies or fungal bodies or whatever it happens to be. So be careful again where you are harvesting. And yes, I have already begun on the where not to harvest video. It's just taking a bit of time because I got to do a lot of traveling around to the different places that I wanted to put in the video, but it's coming along well, so expect that out in the next little while. Yeah, but carrying on, because we're talking about food now. So this is awesome. All right. We have other guys that we quite often will find hanging out in the boggy areas right on the edge here. This is Rubus spectabilis. It's the salmon berry. It's related to the raspberry. And oh, they're so delicious, and they'll range from like an orangey color, and they'll be mottled. Sometimes they're red, and sometimes partially orange, partially red. Just absolutely delicious. And the petals and everything are edible. And you can also use these as a makeshift band-aid if you needed to. If you had a little wound, you can just get them wet and stick it on your wound. But yeah, absolutely tasty. Very nice. Quite sweet. That's what I like about them. Yeah, you don't have to have the berries to get the sweetness. And again, right on the edge of the bog, we have some false Solomon seal. This is Meanthemum racemosum. And when you see that they've got these little knobbies on the top of this, all these furled up leaves, this is the part that's just primo. This is the meristematic growth that you want. These guys are loaded with, phosphorus and potassium and iron, and they're really, 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 really tasty. You got to cook them, but so we're going to grab a couple of these as well. Throw them into our little meal that we're going to throw together back at the house. Yeah, And they're also related to the false lily of the valley, which is Manthamum dilatatum. And they're also another bog lover. And these guys don't, they'll be on the drier side, like up on the banks of the bog and the marshes and whatnot. But they even grow in my driveway, which is drier than a popcorn fart. So, but yeah, the lily of the valley, the false lily of the valley, I should say, the dilatatum, they like the moister areas. But the dilatatum is not edible. Their berries are. Oh, and that's the other thing about these guys is their berries, they'll start out really green and they get really kind of mottled color, and they're really neat looking. And then they'll turn this brilliant red, and that's when they're ready to eat. And good luck in harvesting enough of them to do anything. They're more of a trailside snack. Like this one, there's what, 4 plants here, 5 plants maybe. So we'll maybe get, maybe 15, 20 berries out of these. They're very delicious. Big stone, not a lot of meat on them, but so sweet, so sweet. So if you're on the trail, just take one, suck all the meat off of it, and spit the pit back into the bush, and it'll grow some more of these guys. And of course, we can't forget our curly dock. This is our Rumex crispus. This stuff is really good. Can be a little bit on the bitter side because it's got oxalates in it. And of course, oxalates can build up in our system, so you got to be careful about your amount of intake on these guys. But the seeds is what I use mostly, and I use that in my cooking and whatnot. But you can use these too, especially the young ones. These guys are just unfurling here. Yeah, like just these guys, little tiny. And they're not so bad. They get more bitter with age. And of course, they're less palatable with age as well. But yeah. It's got a nice flavor to it. Just got an earthy flavor to it. It's not anything special, but not bitter when they're that young. Like, it was very, very nice. So, and of course, we can't not bring home some of our beautiful Urtica dioica, the stinging nettle. These guys are just so good for you and loaded with iron, like just loaded. But they got calcium, they got potassium, they got a whole bunch of other things too, and they've got antioxidants too. So really, really a lot of goodness for us out here, even in the bog. These guys like to have their feet wet too, and you can see it's still on the edge of the bog here. And yeah, these guys, but they do have stingers, the trichomes, but with heat and water, they basically dissolve, so you're good to go. You can make them into tea, you can use them as a spinach replacement, that kind of thing. Really, really good. Yeah, awesome. And again, just on the edge of the bog here, we've got some bull thistle, Cirsium vulgare. Yeah, and even their stems of the little branches and whatnot, they're edible. Of course, you got to get all the pokies off of them. But you can use a knife, and but the best part is honestly the stalk. When it gets a good, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. These guys have a 2-year life cycle. They'll actually stay as their little rosette for the first year. And then the second year, that's when they stick up their beautiful purple heads. And those purple heads that they put out is they've got all their little parachute seeds are in there. But if you get them at the right time, you can take all the purple hairs off, take all the pokies off, and get it down. And the little knob, the little button that you get at the end, is kind of like an artichoke. Yeah, so you cook it the same way and everything like that. And so sweet. It's really, really sweet, really nice in a stir fry. It's like adding water chestnuts, kind of, but sweet. It's just, yeah, they're awesome. So we're going to dig up some of these for our meal tonight as well. Yeah, awesome. They're going to have lots of minerals and nutrients, but again, you got to be careful where you're harvesting. And I know this bog because it is fed by my lake, which feeds into a creek, which feeds into the bog. But really cool. But these guys are just absolutely delicious, and they're full of minerals and nutrients. Just really, really good for you. Oh, and of course, right on the edge, these guys grow anywhere. These are our dandelions, the Taraxacum officinale. You'll see that they'll have 1 flower to 1 stalk. They'll have several stalks, but it's only going to have 1 flower, and you know that one's probably going to be the real one. Another way is looking at their leaves. They're lobed and pointed, and they're actually kind of nice. Kind of remind me of kale a little bit. You want the young ones because they can get that bitter, that white. You can see the white. They're coming out. They can get a little bit bitter when they're bigger, but like this one here, it's just like a little tiny lettuce, piece of leaf lettuce, honestly. And very, very nice in a salad. Very good. The whole plant is edible. You can actually take the root and make that, roast it and make it into a coffee, grind it up. And loaded with polyphenols. Oh, that's one thing about the polyphenols is there's 115 times more polyphenols in the flower head than there is in the rest of the plant. But yeah, just loaded with those, and polyphenols are very, very good for us in keeping certain cancers away and keeping inflammation down and many, many good things. And also up on the edge here of the bank of the marsh there, we've got the purple monster. This is Lamium purpureum. This is another amazing plant for you. It's related to the mint. You'll see it's got a square kind of stipe, so when you try to roll it, it goes slunk, slunk in your fingers. Now the problem, palatability, these guys' leaves are kind of fuzzy. Make them into a tea. It's nice. You can cook with them too. You can throw them in your meals and whatnot. But yeah, they're loaded with so many antioxidants, and they're antimicrobial and antiviral, and they've got calcium, and they've got magnesium and phosphates in them, and it's just loaded with good stuff. So what a great one to have in conjunction with our meal. So yeah, just absolutely just loaded. Yeah, purple monster, the only reason why they call it the purple monster is because they go crazy. When you see one, you're going to see a swack of them. They get into big, big pods of them. There's more up the bank too. But they don't like to having their feet too wet, so they won't grow like right down into the bog like with horsetails and the fiddleheads. And even some of the certain grasses that are growing out here are just really nice to chew on. So if you pull on one section, it should slide out of their sheath like this. And then you have this beautiful white meristematic growth. And if you got dry mouth, it's a wonderful thing to chew on. Funny is my mom, when I was a kid, in the 70s, when I would get car sick, she'd pull over on the side of the road and make me chew on a piece of grass, like do this, pull on and chew on this meristematic growth, which is totally awesome. It did seem to soothe my stomach for some reason. I was a kid. I don't know if it actually worked or not, but it was the side of the road too, you know. So she didn't really know not to harvest on the side of the road if you can avoid it. But anyways, yes, yummy, and I've got dry mouth, so Another thing about wild harvesting is, you know, there's a lot of prep work. There's a lot of going out and actually harvesting the whatever you're harvesting, either a fungi or plant or whatever. But there are huge benefits. You're not getting chemicals for pesticides on your stuff that you buy in the store. You're not getting chemicals from the washes. You're not getting growth hormones. There's lots of things that you're not getting. And out here in the wild, they just have so many nutrients in them, and way more than what's in the store-bought stuff, because a lot of them are, they try to speed grow for production and whatnot, and a lot of the soils in the farmlands and whatnot all through the world are getting depleted of many nutrients. Magnesium be a big one. But yeah, so you it's a little bit more prep work. It is worth it, especially for the benefits you get out of it. So, and we were talking about the Rubus spectabilis there not too long ago. These are the Rubus lacinatus, which is the cut leaf blackberry, and their meristematic growth, same as the Himalayan, which is the Rubus armeniacus, and for that matter, the Rubus ursinus, the trailing Pacific. All of their new meristematic growth is edible and full of nutrients. Like this little shoot here, that would be just loaded. But and also the spines are very soft on them at this point. Well, this was a very pleasant surprise. These guys, look at that. Oh, I love these guys. Copernellus micaceus, the mica caps. Oh, that's awesome. These are beautiful little buttons. These are prime. And it's a big patch too, so I can take almost as much as I need. With, you know, within reason, of course. And we're getting a nice little stockpile now. Excellent. Good to go.